Hello, and good Vach to you. Good week. Uh, First week after Pesach. Strange, isn't it? So, Rabbi Nosson mentions something regarding this week, this Parsha. The first korban that had to be brought in the Mishkan was a calf. And based on the Torah in which he explains, Rabbeinu explains that there are two major forces in the world, the attracting force and the distancing force. You can call it the attracting force is gravitational. It's the offer of Earth, and the pushing away force. I mean, it gives a distancing force. He says it's only temporary. It's like when you're taking a stone, the stone naturally is attracted, to the earth because of gravitational pull. So, but if you throw it up, that's distancing force. But once it's finished, then it goes into default mode and falls back down. This is true both physically and spiritually. That the gravitational force is the koyach of the Torah, the tzaddik, and that's the source of the neshama that comes from its root in Olam Abino, Olam Abriya. This is and the neshama by itself is attracted to the attracting force of its root. All the time it longs to get to its root and so forth. But in this world, it comes down to this world by force. It is forced to come down. This world, basically, the entire world from beginning to end, represents the distancing force. And the thing is, the reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it is because when you push to overcome the distancing force and over the gravitational force, what happens is that you are creating kalim, you're creating vessels, you're creating instruments, you're creating capacities. To give a muscle for that, if you have never bought an apartment, it looks totally impossible. And you start going to banks and you start this and you start that, and it's very, very difficult. But once you're able to buy the apartment, now you know how apartments are bought. Every time one bank said, no way, you're not credit worthy. So you go to another one and you learn what does it take to get credit from a bank and so on and so on. And you create a vessel, you create, a tool that enables you, to buy the apartment. And if you're so inclined to buy another one, because you have been there, you've done that. And so overcoming the difficulty, overcoming the distancing force creates tools that help you. This is even in Begashmis. You took machines. Yeah, machines are predicated almost completely on that particular play between the pulling and the pushing force. You take the engine, and the engine has an expansion. Let's take the older the fuel engines. Okay, so there's an explosion in the chamber. It goes. That's an expanding force, and the engine itself applies a limiting force, a pushing force, and that pushes a piston. And then the mechanism makes it possible, to turn this energy into kinetic energy and into torque and into wisdom, so forth and so on. It is all done with a play between actually a contest of the pulling force and the pushing force. And then when you are able to attain perfecting the art of balancing the two, you can create basically anything, airplanes, whatever it is that human knows. And spiritually is also the same thing. So this is what it says about the first offering in the Mishkan was dafka, a calf. Now, a calf, that represents, Rashi says, why you bring a calf? Because of the sin of the golden calf. So it is, the sin of the golden calf came about when you overcome it, it becomes a korban Lashem. It creates new tools, new abilities to get close to Kodesh Baruch Hu. So don't, shouldn't get disheartened. Look, I failed. I don't know what I did. Man, it's just, there's no way I'll ever be able to, and so forth and so on. But by standing up to the distancing force, you are creating tools that will enable you to accomplish more and more and more, both physically and spiritually. Let's take a quick look at the Sipurey Baal Shem Tov. Once they asked the Baal Shem Tov, what is the main avodah that you have invented or introduced? I mean, the word tzaddikim, Baruch Hashem, Kenan, Ahara, Yimasaylo. As we know, that, in the olden days, Oiv Demasi, the tzaddikim, they would fast from Shabbos to Shabbos, and they would do, they would roll in snow, and so forth and so on. And you, the Baal Shem Tov, you canceled it. So please tell us, what is the avodah that you are mechadash? You took away, the avodah of sigufim. So what did you bring instead? So the Baal Shem Tov said, I came to this world to show a different road that a person should see to pull upon himself three things: the love of Hashem, the love of Israel, and the love of Torah. And you don't need to do anything to the bodies. And this is what Rebbe of Mezhibozh, the grandson of the Baal Shem, the uncle of Rabbeinu, said. The Baal Shem Tov said, when the body of a person is lo aleinu ill, the neshama also weakens. The person cannot daven properly, even if he's clean from affairs. That's why a person should always make sure that he's healthy. This is a very important nekuda that the person should. Even Rabbeinu said, if had he known the power of davening, of prayer, he would not have wrecked his body, in fasting and whatever it is that he did when he was very, very young. He said, Rabbeinu says, I had a very nice body, meaning a body that didn't push itself. Okay, it's fine, it's healthy. Body that pushes itself, meaning a body that is unhealthy. And so he says, he said, I had, a very proper body, didn't push itself. And he says, and I wrecked it with fasting and with all kinds of tanesim and no. He says, had I known the koyach of tefillah, he says, I would not done that. Very, very important. Very simple. Sicha from the Baal Shem HaKodesh. So let's now go to see what does Rabbeinu says in Sichos Haran. We are holding by Sicha 304, Shin Dalet Shin. One time, Rabbeinu mocked this Indian of this is the fact that people are asking, don't bring me not to a nisayon and not to a bizayon, not to a test and not to shame. That's what we say every single day. Not to the end of the nisayon, not to a test, of the bizayon and not to shame. So Rabbeinu says in this way, either it's a nisayon or it's a bizayon. In other words, if a person does not withstand the nisayon, it will end up to be a bizayon, either on this world or the next one. You cannot, this. If you don't stand the nisyonis, then the shame comes. And then he spoke. He spoke, and we already said before. We spoke about the how lowly is, the taiva, the famous taiva of immorality. Rabbeinu says really it's not a taiva at all. He says the only thing is that there are many people they're so physical, they're so gashmistic, and they're so used to, these and themselves to these inyanim. It doesn't help them at all that you tell them, that this is when you tell them how disgusting it is. And when you take away the taiva, the lust away, the whole thing is just disgusting. The taiva, it looks like who knows what, but the time, he says other way. For these people, if you speak to them about this, it'll still bring in more thoughts and more thoughts about it. He says that's why it is better for most people not even to start thinking about this. Don't argue with, don't start arguing with your temptations. You should, you shouldn't, to want something like this, or something like that. This is a very, very important nakuda that a person needs to hold. We tend to complicate things. When it comes to serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're overthinking, we're overcomplicating, and the minute a thought, an immoral thought, or a deed, or whatever it is, comes to a person, okay, now the entire world comes to standstill. I can't believe I did that. I can't believe, this is just, okay, I'm done. I'm just like, my goose is cooked. There's no hope for me. Huh? And there's, okay, now what can I do? What am I going to do? And I'm going to back and just let it go. Just let it do. Just go on. By, hemming and hawing and clutching your pearls and wringing your hands and worry, you're not going to solve anything. The thing is that you are coming into this world, and this world is tempting you. And if it already succeeded or it doesn't succeed, just go on. Let go and just go on, continue. Let it go. Don't, should have done this, I should have done that, and I can't do this. I don't know what to do. And just, it comes to you, go on. There's an image that comes to my mind and I can't leave it on. Just go on. But it comes back. So let it come back. You just do yours. Just go on. Just go on. And it's the inner taiva, the inner lust in a person. Say, yeah, but you want to think me. Come on. You really want to think me. You enjoy me. You love me. Beseder, that's why it's called a taiva. That's why it's called a lust. But go on. Just move it aside and just go on. Don't try to solve it. Don't try to explain it away. Don't try to anything. Just continue to do what you need to do. Think another thought. Open up a sefer. Whatever it is. But just let it go. Don't get mixed up in it. Ad kind for Sichos Haran for this week. Kadosh Baruch Hu should help us with Hashem. Have a good week. That Hashem should Chodesh Iyar, coming on Friday. That Hashem will be zocher, to Kedusha and Tahara and Avodas Hashem, and realize that you don't need to be brilliant. You don't need to pull down the stars. You don't need to catch angels. You just need to do what you need to do. It's very simple. When you forget how simple it is, this is when you get into trouble. And remember, there are no free lunches. Either a nisayon, either it's a test, or a nisayon, or it's a shame. People bringing shame upon themselves. It's either or. Shem Yazor should have a good week. and Kol Tov B'ezrat Hashem. To you and to Klal Yisrael B'ezrat Hashem, that you will see Moifsim and Nisim and Kol Tov B'ezrat Hashem. Kol Tov and a Gitavoch.